Tony D and Little Joan, what screenwriters rant on, it's finally dropped. Five Nights at Freddy's official trailer. They've been talking about this movie. God, there's been so many trailers. Um, this appears to be the official one. The actual movie is finally coming out. Yeah, it looks okay. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 11, available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So I think this is based on a video game. And the premise is there was a fun, like Chuck E. Cheese type place back in the 80s, and they basically turned Chuck E. Cheese into a horror movie. If you remember me ranting about the Banana Splits movie and how incredibly upset I was by that, that's kind of what they turned the Banana Splits movie into. They turned it into this. It's animatronic robots possessed by dead young children who were murdered because, I don't know, but they were murdered somehow. And then possess the animatronic robots and then murder more children. Anyhow, the owner can't sell the property, so he has a security guard watch it, and this guy takes the job. He's got a young daughter. He can't afford a babysitter, so of course he brings his daughter with him, and eventually she starts wandering around, and of course the animatronic things come to life, and they're haunted by the kids, and he's got to save her. There's also a female police officer who shows up and tells him all the exposition. I guess. I mean, is that I don't know. This is what everybody was raving about and going on and on. Oh my God, Five Nights at Freddy. I mean, it just seems like a standard horror movie. A little bit of humor here. I guess one of the animatronics turns against the evil ones and helps the little girl. So I think it'll be, I don't think it'll be like, I don't know, completely gross. I think it'll be, I think it'll be a positive ending where the father saves his daughter and frees the ghost children and all is well. October 27th, appropriate. Story by Scott Cawthon. Screenplay by Scott Cawthon, Emma Tammy, and Seth Cudbeck. Okay. Directed by Emmy Tammy. All right. So Scott comes up with the story, helps on the screenplay. The director steps in and probably brings in a screenwriter to shore things up. Yeah, I mean, whatever. It's not scary to me. It's just not scary. It's kind of stupid. But, I mean, it's an updated haunted house. So, first act, guy needs a job, applies at Freddy's, gets a job as a security guard. It's the only thing he can afford. He's really tight for cash. Decides he's going to bring his daughter to work because nobody else will be there. It's an abandoned building. They sit around. They're very bored. For some reason, it's very dark, and they never turn on the lights. Yeah, to me, it's weird to see the movie start that way because I think we all know what would really happen if someone got this gig. They'd move into the office. They'd turn on all the lights. They'd have, because they're just sitting there. Basically, all he has to do is watch the monitors, right? So he'd have his laptop, he'd have that plugged in with a movie going, he'd have, snacks, he'd have music. He wouldn't see anything. Him and his daughter would sit on their phones and electronic devices in the room, completely oblivious to what was going on around in the property. Right? Or virtually oblivious. And then, the cop shows up. But, So, of course, what happens is he doesn't have any electronic devices or whatever, and he gets very bored very quickly. And then the cop shows up, tells him the story of Five Nights at Freddy's, or I guess he's stuck there for 5 nights. Um, she tells him the story. He doesn't believe it. Second act, his daughter either disappears or starts hearing voices. At some point, the ghosts steal her, or she becomes trapped in the building and he's trying to save her. And then the rest of the movie is him trying to save her. And it appears that at some point the little girl convinces one of the ghost animatronic characters to turn against his friends and do something good, so he's going to save her, and then they go back in together to save the father. Okay. Would I watch it? Maybe. Maybe. It seems like you kind of oversold it to me. I mean, there are literally dozens of these concept trailers and, I don't know, teasers and stuff, and to some extent, this happened to me with a movie called, it was in Sharon Stone, it was called Sliver. I think it was Sliver, or was it Basic Instinct? There was one of those movies. Man, they just, at first I thought, oh, maybe I'll go see Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. I hear she's naked and she's really hot. And, I thought about seeing it. I kind of had made up my mind that maybe I would see it. But then the commercials came on again and again and again and again. Eventually I said, you know what? I'm not seeing this movie. I was determined not to see the movie, and I still haven't seen it. Because it was oversold to me. And this feels a little bit like that. It's a little bit overselling me. The concept, it's not that great of a concept. It's okay. I mean, for a horror movie, it's kind of ridiculous. I hate animatronic puppets, by the way. I hate them. They're stupid. They're like really bad robots. That's the one thing AI could do, is could greatly improve these guys. God, they're so stupid. They do the same thing over and over again. I was never a fan of Chuck E. Cheese. I think I went there one time for a relative or a friend's kid's birthday party or something, and had pizza there, and I wanted to throw up. So it doesn't look scary, but it looks like it'll kind of be funny. Yeah, it's a throwback to the 80s a little bit. However, being a guy who came out of the 80s, sometimes I watch movies that take place in the 80s and I go, that's not the 80s, come on. It just seems like, the further we get away from it, the more the movies about the 80s or that touch upon it are so amazingly wrong, and they act like it was, I don't know, medieval times. It wasn't that long ago, at least not to me. Yeah, they had a stupid restaurant for kids called Chuck E. Cheese, and they served pizza and had video games. It was a different time. I mean, they still have places like that. They're not scary. The scariest thing about them is they would leave teenagers to run the whole place into the ground. 9 times out of 10. Like, one adult manager would come in once in a while, yell at everybody. But for a lot of it, it would just be these really young people who didn't give an F, and which is why half these places would, I think, run down. That would be the scary part. The scariest part of like places like this, an amusement park, is the young people who are in charge, and they're completely irresponsible. But getting back to the movie, sorry. Looks alright. Looks alright. The guy playing the dad, I think he's one of the actors from College Humor. He looks familiar. Might not be him. Might be a guy who looks like him. But yeah, I might watch it. I mean, it's a B movie for me. Yeah, people get killed by the robots, and then he figures out how to kill the robots at the end. The end. I don't know. I don't know why people are so fascinated by this. You tell me, is there some reason? Is it a video game? I think it's a video game. When the night shift starts, the nightmare begins. In theaters, streaming on Peacock, October 27th. Can you survive 5 nights? The terrifying horror game phenomenon, oh, okay, it was, becomes a blood chilling cinematic event as Blumhouse, producers of Megan, The Black Phone, and The Invisible Man, brings Five Nights at Freddy's to the big screen. Well, they do have a good record, so maybe it'll be good. The film follows a troubled security guard as he begins work at Freddy's Fazbear's Pizza. While spending the first night on the job, he realizes the night shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. Yeah, well, I mean, look. You got the guys who did Megan, The Black Phone, and The Invisible Man. I'm not so sure about the last one, but the other two I hear are great. Got great buzz. So this, maybe it'll be good. You know, for a Blumhouse horror movie, it'll be decent. I don't mean to knock it, fans of the game, but there's a difference between games and movies in terms of if you can make these work. Now, I haven't played the game, so you're getting my reaction for someone who hasn't played the game, just strictly based on the story as a movie. It's okay. Now, I'm sure with the game, it would have been more fun because you would have had all that detail about Freddy's and, you know, all that Chuck E. Cheese parody stuff. You know, and it's the playability of a game that also sort of pushes it ahead, and you don't have playability in a movie. So it's more based on characters, and the characters look fine, but I don't know, they're not wowing me. Maybe they should have emphasized the characters more and less of Freddy's, because again, it's just been promoted nonstop on YouTube. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, Little Joan. Check us out on Odyssey, BitChute, and Rumble for our more based takes. I will be at the book club today at 6:45 in Fort Mott. That's down near Pensgrove. So Google Fort Mott, M-O-T-T. 6:45 will be at the picnic area. I know there may be some rain, but it's covered, and I don't think the rain's going to hit. The rain will hit earlier, and then it should be done by then. So hope to see you there. We'll see you in the next one.